HDFS Federation. What do we mean by HDFS Federation? How I know it's a process whereby we have two masters, and in case of failover, another guy picks it up. One major thing that is different from Nigerian education system and maybe the wise guys, that they check for knowledge. Yeah, we check for cramming. So that we just cram it word for word. But then just have the idea, then you pass. Just understand. Just read it and just keep it to mind. It's simple. It's not like oh big ha. You don't read like the way you read Nigeria. Understand. You don't cram it. Understand as much as you can, and just take to heart little informations. Okay, and that's what they said there: failover and fencing, and that's just the summary. And one thing I also noticed about that is any word that they bold, that you see in bold words, please read it and understand. They want you to that to mind. So like the failover and fencing, they said a new component known as the failover control is in charge of handling the shift from the active node to the standby node. So failover control. So it's just the guy that is sensing, okay, this guy is not active again now. Let me switch to another system. So let's take note of those key things. Okay. So fine. Another thing I'm seeing here that looks interesting is okay, the exam check in page 114. Your certification exam, you'll be required to demonstrate your understanding of role of HDFS Federation. At least maybe you have two questions on that guy. The role of HDFS Federation. Why is this important? And just keep it to mind. I know by now we should know why we talk about HDFS Federation. The first out of one, we only have one master, but in terms of HDFS Federation, we have two masters that enables failover. Just understand those basic concepts. It's not by how I want to put, you can't put everything in your head, but you can put everything in your mind. So now we work more with your mind. Okay. Yes. Let me see. So understanding. I'm trying to scan through to see those things I know are of importance to our knowledge, so that you won't stress yourself trying to know everything, but so that we'll see the key things that really matters and where we should put our mind. So on page 119, exam check, exactly your certification, you'll be required to demonstrate your understanding of data operation in HBase. So now what are data operations in HBase? Yes, you'll be asked to say, okay, possible data operations. They put, I know you talk about, I know we have all possible data operation. You keep it in mind. Here, okay. You might not need, you won't be writing any code in your exam, so it's not code driven, but it's driven by your understanding of the basic principle behind the code. So that you won't spend much time trying to cram code or say, this code will pay. No. So just understand the basic concept and the basic principle behind every code, what each code does. You just be given you'll be given a code as an example. For instance, and you can write maybe um, three different code, and they will ask you what are those codes doing, and you need to say, okay, you need to be sure of for which code will answer a particular task. So guys that are going to do big data analyst, or okay, data analyst stream, they can give you a linear regression model I'll probably give you a case study and ask you what is the corresponding multiple linear regression model that is going to solve the case study you've presented. So my boss, okay, she said, see, these things are commonsensical, provided you understand, provided you've gone through the material, and that's that. So, and sincerely, can somebody answer this question? So we need to answer this question. What is the general guideline for limiting the number of columns per table? Page 120. Can somebody answer that question?
Okay, so for the analyst guys, our textbook is a bit different, so I'm not sure we get a question clearly, sir. If you could read it out for us, please.
Okay, for the analyst guide, okay, might not be in the same page, right? But for the analyst guide, go to I think it's module 7. And come, give it to me. Let me check the corresponding page. Okay, go to book 2. Book 2 of book 2 of SBDA, and check the content and go to where we have storing and processing data in Hadoop. So can somebody go there and tell us the page number? Is anybody with the material?
Yes, sir. I'm opening already.
Okay.
Okay, so what's the question again, sir? Be sure. Yes.
What is the general guideline for the limit of the number of columns per table?
Okay, I've seen this on page 296, book 2 for data analysis.
Okay. So can we answer that question?
Daniel, I didn't really hear what you said.
Okay, I said the question is on page 296 of book 2 for data analysis. Page 296, book 2.
Okay, so I need answers to that question because for now, need to with these questions, we will be able to have grounded knowledge of what we've been doing so far and how we're going to be able to tackle questions and make sure we get answers to them.
Okay, so I can see the question.
So, so
Uh, so we went when we were doing the age base at first. I think my network is breaking.
okay. So yeah, what's the answer?
Yes, sir. Okay, the answer is that the general guidelines to limit number of columns is not to exceed 10 to 15 per table.
Okay. So where can we find the answer? Which page? Which paragraph?
295 it's under HB schema design guidelines for data analysis and is
Okay.
number 2.
Okay. So that's another question. So you know you found your own, you answered your own question. So that's fine. We'll keep all these things in my mind, and well, I also I'm trying to reiterate this because they are pointing to you what they expect you to do. Some basic things that you feel like, no, I might not, these things might not be important, but they pick it up. Okay, programming for each day, okay, a lot of work here. Sunday, which class for data engineering guys? Knowledge check 6. So, Iola, what is knowledge check 6? What's the page for knowledge check 6 on your table? On analyst book 1, book
Judge.
2. What do you have to be answering? So,
Page
300.
300.
300.
page 300. Okay. So Sunday will be answering this question. Which class is used for the major data access operation in HBase? Which class is used for the major data access operation? I think I saw this question. No? This question looks very familiar and it's simple. Oh, yeah. Which class is used for the major data access operation in HBase? Sunday. In this class, you don't call a friend. All of you must answer at least one question before we leave today.
So the get command.
The get command, yes. So we use the get command or we use can. So we use get. So you have the option. The option can come in terms of get. You can have get, option A get, option B scan, option C A and B, option D none of the above. So that's fine. So we need to put in mind. So what they are trying to tell us in this space is that okay, we need to put in mind all the basic operation, the get command, the put or command, the scan. So put all this basic command. So what another thing I discovered about Daska is that they want you to put in mind the actual words So when I'm reading, I look for action words. So what are the things I can do? What are the things that okay, the action words, because those are things you practice, those are things you do. So keep it in mind. And when you check all their questions always at least 70% of the question revolve actions that needed to be taken. So that's fine. So Sunday you passed your own question. Maybe the first question for today. Okay, so the last phase is saying examination check. You'll be required to demonstrate your ability to combine best capability of HBase and HDFS for effective storage. So that's under combining capability. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Okay. Um, so section 2, working with MapReduce on Yearn. Okay. So when we had this class, we had I think we spent a lot of time on this topic. We'll talk about the key value pairs, talking about the getting data, the reading data, the splitting, the shoveling, and the reduce and the mapping, something like that. So they would like us to understand. So let's see what are we expected to know in this class. Okay. So let's see. I'm on figure 2, the high level Hadoop execution cluster. We've done this and it's fine. So one good thing that this class will do for you is by the time you are doing your revision for the exam, it will be a walkover. You don't need to rack too much brain to get everything to your mind. So the input data format, input data, the input format, the input splits, we talked about that, the partition, blah, 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 the combiner and the like, so that's fine. So, okay, page 138, Uber jobs. So, can someone tell us what is Uber jobs? Let me ask somebody. What am I asking? Uber jobs. Richard, what is Uber jobs? At least we'll be hearing of Uber now. Uber. So what is Uber jobs? So how does it work? What's the concept behind Uber jobs? Are you there?
Yes, yes. You're right.
Okay, what is Uber jobs?
Can you give me some minutes? I'll just
Okay. Okay. So the concept behind I'm going to give you another question because we need to move and we have a lot to do. So the concept behind Uber jobs is just like when you just need when the task you want to perform is not that complex and you want something small, like just do a mini job. When you see the explanation, say to run small map reduce job in version 1. So like when the when the project is not too complex and something small, and you can set the configuration to true. So you see, you have the code that says map reduce job over task enable equals true. So let's keep in mind how to configure these things so that when you see them in your exam, you understand that this thing really exists. Okay. All right. So the next pages are codes. I'm on page
I have a question,
141.
sir. I have a question, sir.
Okay.
Is there a difference between the Uber jobs and the Uber mode?
Uber what?
Uber mode.
Uber mode.
MOD.
Oh,
Yes.
MODE. Okay, I'm not too sure. I've came across Uber mode before, but commonsensical. Now, people should use our common sense. If Uber jobs is talking about to run small map produced, then I feel it should always talk about a mini version of the map produced job, or maybe a mini version of the map produced process. So that is what I would expect Uber mode to be. Um, and that is, though I can't find it. I was unable, I don't have that here. So, but that is what I would think the answer should be. But do you think, do you have the Uber mode inside this material? Do you have Uber mode in this material?
No. I was saying it's on. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, so that's it. Okay, so that's fine. So you can see a lot of code, and the essence of these codes so is when you are going to productions, and most of these codes are referencing codes, so that when you go into the production or when you get to the field, you can fall back to all this material and say, okay, how can I get this one? And you get to just work with the code and you're done. So page 149. So these things are still images. Okay, I know we talk about face recognition then. So we talk about using MapReduce as framework for parallel processing, and that is when your MapReduce job is connected to maybe a memory intense algorithm that consumes the memory, and that's the example of a face recognition algorithm that takes up a lot of processing. And I know then we talked about you connect your map function to the algorithm, and the algorithm takes in an object, which there's the expected output of a map is a value. But in this case, we'll be having series of value because to each image that you pass into your map reduce job, you have corresponding features that you'll be using for it. So the framework that works in that line is the parallel processing. I know we talked about that I know we've done that a long time ago. So we have a question. Okay, I'll go forward. The question, okay, I'll just read out the exam check. In the examination, you'll be required to demonstrate ability to apply various techniques of designing map reduce implementation. So let's keep that in mind. So we talk about all this link elevation, then blah blah blah. Okay. Um, um, Another exam check we need to keep in mind is ability to perform iterative map reduce jobs. And this is going to the engineering guys. The analyst guys might not be doing it as much as this, but the engineering guys need to keep this in mind. That's page 163 in your manual, and that is ability to demonstrate. You're required to demonstrate your ability to build iterative map release job. So keep that in mind, and try by all means, please and please, the engineering guys. I know to the analyst guys, um, you guys just need more of your machine learning, your R, and the understanding of data science. But the engineering guys, please, to all these questions, please find answers to them. Go through the material, find answers to them. See, I can tell you, if you find answers to all questions, you are ready for the exam. If you can just say, I just want to find answer to all these questions, you are ready, because that will make you keep your mind to it. Okay. Section 3, whereby we have customizing map reduce execution. Um, so I remember then when we are on this topic, we talked about customizing the input, customizing the output. I remember I said something about um, when you're working with Python, in Python, you can customize the output. Say, okay, I want to read it to a CSV file, or probably I want to read it to a DB. So likewise here, you can customize a map reduce output to read into a particular database, and that is, for instance, a regular Hadoop database, which is HBase. So, and that's the concept behind it. So all we just need to do is understand the concept, and understand the right use of words to get this done. So I hope the engineering guys are following and taking notes. So, and that's that. So I think that's summary of what we have there. So I'm on page 180, implementing input formats for multiple H-based table. So read through, understand. So we have different input formats into HBase table. So the first paragraph says something, said format produce job leveraging HBase data source. Hadoop provides some table input formats, and that's that's the summary. I think I just gave an overview of the whole summary. Hadoop will provide input formats for your HBase. As much as you can write from MapReduce to HBase, we are still not customizing MapReduce. As much as we can customize the output of a MapReduce job, say, okay, from any format to any format, and we should keep in mind, I know the engineering guys should keep in mind of this thing, especially this in terms of when you are deploying, is you have different libraries you need to call for you to be able to write into all these formats. So, and for HBase, so HBase can call in different formats. It can be a comma separated files, and I know there was a part that they recommend that you bring in a tab delimiter. So, and that's fine. So there's something interesting I also understand about this guy is tables. Tables. When you talk about tables, when you, for instance, when you create tables with Hive or Pig, those tables, they are really, they are files, like normal file. They are not they are not like CSV file. Or let me I don't know. You can create a table in any format and say, okay, I want to create table, and I want my table to be tab delimiter, such that you can go to your HDFS backend and you go and copy that file. So you see it like a file. So most of the time, other databases, when you create table, it is in another format entirely. For instance, now when you're working with Microsoft, what is the name of this guy now? This Microsoft DB. There's one Microsoft Access, yes. So you see that Microsoft Access tables, there's a DBF file format. But in terms of Hadoop, the file format is as simple as .txt or yes. So it can be like that, such that you can copy it, it's very flexible, it is not something abstract and you find it difficult to read and write to it. No, it can be very simple that every other program can make use of it. Okay, so that's that. So we are okay. So that's that. We keep in mind. They said we'll be asked that you'll be required to demonstrate your ability to implement the controlling map reduce execution. This majorly there are some things for analyst guys they can skip, but for engineering guys they are not going to skip this knowledge check. So let's keep it in mind. And I can say, so every question you have here, you have the corresponding answer in the book. Just take time to read, then you're good to go. Okay, okay, I have a question. So who is next on my list? Albert, answer the knowledge check 2 in page 186.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not with my report.
Okay, you're not with your material.
No, I'm not at the moment.
All right, okay. No wahala. Okay, marvelous. Is marvelous there?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Page, yeah, good afternoon. Are you with your
Yes.
material? Yeah, page 186. Answer that question for us.
186. Okay. Knowledge check 2. Okay.
So answer that question.
The company needs to prepare to not produce program. This one is stickle.
It's thick. Look for water to soften it.
Right? Can you read
You
the
have to
question
ma-
out?
yes,
Okay, let
you
me read
can.
the question. Let me read the question. The question
So,
says, hello?
hi.
Okay. Can I read the question, sir?
Yeah, read this now. I'll look for the answer.
Okay, sir. A company needs to impute files to a MapReduce program, but that the file should not be split and passed as a whole to the map function. Explain how they can achieve this.
Okay.
Sorry, sir. I think this was almost one of the projects we did. Hello?
One of the projects, I don't understand.
And it sounds like one of our lab works.
Okay, that's fine.
That we had so many texts that we had text files come in, and then we had to create different text files. So we had to now find a way to like merge all the text files using some algorithms on Eclipse and then Hadoop. Hello?
Hi, I'm with you.
That was what I was going to say, sir. Hello?
I'm with you now.
Yeah, we find a way to get all the, because with what you explained, I think all the files are split, and then the company wants all the files to be together, right? Like a
Yes.
single document that has all together. So like I said, it's like one of the lab works that we did where we had different text files having different informations of different, so I say staff, and then we were able to work around it to make it a single, put all of them in a single file at the end of the day.
All right. Okay. Um, provided you guys had the practical experience, because this is really more practical.
Yeah.
And
We had to import all the, we used Eclipse after doing the necessary procedures. We imported the necessary packages and all the jar files that were necessary, and then all the scripts. Yeah, that's not about the engineering classes. Most of the things are just copy and paste. And then we went ahead to our terminal. We invoked, no, we created all the text files, single text files, and then we were able to go ahead to call, invoke our HDFS and YARN and necessary things we needed to execute it.
okay, thank you. So, but the answer you gave me is not satisfactory. So the answer you gave me is just 60%. So the answer you gave me is just the procedure, not the technicality.
Yes, sir, because this was one of the things that I wanted us to discuss in our class, because most of the lab works that we do, we just know the procedures, especially when it comes to the scriptings. We don't really like, we just get script snippets, and we don't even know how, like, what each line of the script exactly means or what exactly those individual lines are doing. So we just know the procedure, but like the back, the core thing, we understand that we understand what we're trying to achieve. But I don't know, the technicality, like you explained now, is what I don't know if I speak to everyone. I'm a bit deficient in.
Okay. So now, so how do we solve that? And the only way we can solve it is to spend much time. See, if we come to class and be taking you all those things, if we should come to class and be taking you all those things, then it's going to take a lot of our time and we won't go far. So, and we are not expected to take you that in the first place. So, what is expected for every one of us is okay. That's why, like 2 classes ago, I said, please and please, all these things you can read up. If you just give it like say another 30 minutes, browse and you understand the script and you understand how it works, then you'll be fine. So just give it the energy it takes once. And once you understand, then moving forward you get it. So lots of the work lies in our hands. And please let us get the work done. Okay. So optimizing MapReduce
Sorry,
execution
sir.
with
Sorry,
combined.
sir. Sorry, sir. I don't know if you can explain the 40% that I didn't explain. Sorry, sir.
Explain what?
You said you give me 60%. You wanted to explain the parts that I didn't really go into, or I could study on
Okay.
that. Anyone, it's fine. I just wanted to just ask if it's possible for you to.
Okay. So now, what I expected you. Now your you have your material in front of you, and assuming you've gone through the material, you'll have gotten the 100%. So when you read through the implementing a queue based recorder, that is the process that gives you that avoids splitting. You see, let me read out. It said, actually, let me just read the first part.
Sir, please, what session are you in?
What?
Session is hard to locate for the ABDA.
Okay, so where I am now is reading data, reading data your way with custom record reader. Okay, so
Under what you map reduce on Yan?
yes, I guess under it is under storing and processing data in Hadoop. Storing and processing data in Hadoop, and customizing MapReduce execution. So module storing, but under section customizing MapReduce execution. Okay, so you're asking about how you came about the 60%. So if you've gone through the reading data your way with custom record reader, you understand the key method that is implemented. So the key method implemented that will be implemented in loading the file in avoiding split is your initializing parameter, your next key value pair, because that's the process. That's the process that brings your file together for the MapReduce function to act on it. Are you getting me? So that is the real answer. So when you go through, just go through the last paragraph before you understand the process that should be done. So, and that's where we have initialize, next key value pair, get current key, get progress, and include. So this process will enable you to have your file in as a whole without being splitted. Though even if it's splitted, it's just going to make it as a block such that the MapReduce function will be able to act on it in a sequential order. That will affect the process. So, hold on 1 minute. Okay. So that is that. So I know we did organizing output data. I know we explained this image. So that's fine. Testing section 4, testing and debugging MapReduce application. This has a lot. So the engineering guys, please take note of this. You require to demonstrate unit. Please let's keep this in mind. Our unit testing, you know, it's, I know when we took this class, we said
So I
something
can't hear you.
about like I'll talk about the MapReduce unit testing. Okay, let me read something. That is page 198 for data engineering. So the programming techniques, and that is what the mass-produced unit testing is sitting on. It's a programming technique that requires you to write the actual code and automate an automated code test simultaneously. This enables you to test and retest your code, and
Your network is fluctuating, sir.
so that's that test. My network is okay. Apology. I'm coming. Can you hear me? I, I'm just trying to switch to a better network. Hello? I think it should be better
Yes,
now.
yes, sir.
It's better. All right. Okay. So I was explaining the MapReduce unit testing and the concepts behind it. The real idea they want us to understand is you can test your MapReduce job before you deploy it, and that's it. So it's like the test environment, and that explains it all. So the rest thing is just giving us more understanding of what each line does. Okay, page 205. Yes, education exam is required to demonstrate your ability to perform local testing of MapReduce application. Please, let's provide answer to this question. If analyst guys are not providing answer to this question, engineering guys, you can't escape this one. You know this is your own call.
Sir, please could you repeat the question?
Can I repeat the question?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
You come in. I want to see the question. Like, so you the first one I said earlier was you'll be asked to demonstrate your ability to perform unit testing of MapReduce, which I was explaining. And the second one is yes, the second one is on page 205, which will be required to demonstrate your ability to perform local testing of MapReduce application. So local testing of MapReduce.
Sorry,
Yes.
yeah, I have a question concerning the last question you asked, Margaret. So what I want to ask is, because I was actually contemplating, I wanted to answer. So is it that they have to map do that kind of pipe to just one key value pair or what?
Okay, no, it's not that you're going to put it in one key value pair. So you're talking about the last question I asked, right?
And like they said, they don't want to split the file, so they said they should map them at once. So that's what I'm asking. Is it that if they want to do that, is it that they have to pin with only one key value, or they have to separate them over several key value pairs?
Okay, I'm coming. I want to be sure and read the question again to you. Okay, let me. I want to paint a scenario for you. If you are dealing with image, image cannot be splitted. Do you know? If your input is an image, you can't split it. Do you know? Am I communicating?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm muted my
Yes.
mic. I'm with you.
Okay. So if the map function is an image, you can't split it. The same way, you want to avoid splitting. So you want, what splitting does for us is that, okay, a particular file is splitted across different nodes. But now they said no, we want the file to run in an unsplit mode. So it's still going to run it the same way. It's still going to generate the normal key value pair, because inside the file, for instance, if the file is a text file and you want to count the number of characters in the file, it's still going to work on it like just like a file. But if it is splitted, there will be a lot of after maybe after splitting, it now does the key value pair and reduce it and the likes. But in this case, the file as a whole, the MapReduce operation will act on the file as a whole. So now, what is, you understand that in Adobe HDFS, Adobe framework, initially all those files will sit on different nodes. But you now go to a process whereby you need to bring all those files together on a single node so that the process can work on them. Initially, on the MapReduce architecture, the file is splitted. You initiate a MapReduce job. It goes to each node and work on it. It aggregates on a central server, blah, blah, blah. But in this case, they said, no, gather those files together first before the MapReduce job runs on them. So what makes all those process works is your initializing parameter, your initializing process. Said this method implement all initializing required for proper record reader function. In this case, it's general amount for connecting to the queue. So now all those files, they are brought together sequential order. Where okay, this happens and this happens, but it will happen on a single node. So that's that. I hope I've answered the question. I hope I've not confused you more.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So testing and debugging MapReduce. Section 5, working with Yan. We said a lot about this guy. So what we have here It's about the UN architecture. And okay, another thing you should keep in mind that DASCA guys they take serious is understanding the ecosystem for understanding what Storm does, what Spark does, Giraffe, Tez, and Samza. Just understand how these guys works. I know Storm is used for streaming. It was built by Twitter, what Spark does, and the like. So we keep all these guys in mind because in the examination, it said we'll be required to demonstrate understanding of the YAM ecosystem. So let's keep this in mind. Okay, and there's another thing we need to keep in mind. How does how does this guy how does Yen make Hadoop 2 better? Because in the days of Hadoop 1, there's nothing like Yen. So it moves from MapReduce to Hadoop. So, but in the Hadoop 2 ecosystem, we have the MapReduce, you have the Yen, and you have the HDFS. So now, what is making it better? What is Yen bringing in, and how is he helping the process? Initially, a lot of work is being pushed on MapReduce, such that the MapReduce is always overburdened and the process is not optimized. The system capacity is not optimized in terms of there is what called memory splitting. So memory splitting or let's say process splitting is that okay, they say okay, you node one, you are doing these things and this is the memory allocated to you. Even if you are idle or you are having a lot of work on you, this is just the memory allocated to you. But when Ian came, he brought a new modality to optimizing processes. Like he checks guys that are busy, give them more resources, get that guys that are less systems that are less busy, take resources from them and optimize the process. So if we should read through, you get to understand the real stories I'm saying. So page 218, you see resource request. There's what we call the resource name, the priority. So that's one of the architecture for this guy. Yeah. You used to specify intra-application priority for the request. So any guy that you understand that okay, this guy needs resources, okay, you give it capability, the resource requirement for executing the container. The container is like the job. So when you work with enterprise, you see what they call the container. That's where you put your job and the process you want to run. So in other words, the resources needed to execute the task that will eventually be executed by this container. So those are resources management that happens within the Yen framework. So let's keep in mind all these little information that we have to put in mind. So 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 that's fine. And this is this the anatomy of yeah. I think this is another part of yeah that is interesting. The client part and the application part. And so understanding how does the client part work.
Please, we are on which page, sir?
Page 226.
Okay, sir.
Also starting from page 225, the Yarn API. A client component's primary responsibility is to submit a job for the resource manager, then monitor its status until it's complete. The application master, whose main responsibility is to request resource for the job. So the client component is that guy that says, okay, please, I need resources. Okay, submit a job. So the resource manager is like the guy that distributes resources that are available. So the client will tell the resource manager, please, I need resources. Or I need 30 gig of, or let's say I need 2 gig of RAM to process this job. So the application master will now say, okay, request for the resources from the job. So you see, there are a lot of handshake, there are a lot of communication happening. One guy submits the job, another guy requests the job, another guy approves it. So just like the client component makes the request and the application master approves it for the disbursements before the resource manager can allocate the resources for the requested process to run.
Okay, sir. I think I have
You have what?
what and a question, sir. Yan and Zookeeper. So I noticed that Zookeeper is also used to manage tasks on Adobe.
So task is okay. Zookeeper manages task and Yan manages resources. So resources in terms of saying I have 5 gig, how do I share it? How many gig will it be enough to execute a particular process? That's what Yan will do. To manage resources, handle scheduling, okay, which resources are available, which node is still active, which one is not active again. So that's what Jen will do. But Zookeeper, the whole task is one managing, like we have 10 tasks. Which task should go first? How do we schedule it? How is it scheduled? Like if a particular task is scheduled for 12 a.m., Zookeeper will make sure at that time the process goes live and the job is done. So when Zookeeper initiates a job, passes a job to be done, the client picks it up, submits the job to the resource manager, and after which the application master requests for the amount of resources that is needed for the job to be done. So by hierarchy, the process Zookeeper manages job scheduling while Ian manages the resources for the job. So that is that. Okay. I know we've done a lot. Just doing a little shaking. Module 3, Ivan Peak. I think these guys are simple. They're simple. They're just your basic SQL. So you understand, I'm on page 252 under exploring Hive. Exploring Hive. So how does Hive works? Okay, let's see. So like we said earlier, we should say I provide an SQL-based interface known as the Hive query language, which translates query into Java code, Java map produce code, and runs the code in the on a Hadoop cluster. So there's a transition between the scripts, and that's why you see the architecture in page 252 for guys on engineering. Where you see that you have the Hive at the first level, and you see the command line, you see the driver query, and you see the map reduce job. So there's a conversion to map reduce before you'll be able to get the output of the map reduce job from Hadoop system. So this one is simple. Knowledge check. Which of these two commands throws an error in Hive? Ebube. Ebube. I can't find Ebube. Can somebody help me look for Ebube? He has a question to answer. The question is too simple, and now he runs away. Is Ebube on this call? Okay. Noted.
So I think
Is what?
having network issues.
Okay. So Oluwatobi, bail him out. Knowledge check one. The question is too simple. So what? Knowledge check one under exploring Hive.
Okay. A data.
Okay. So that will throw us off error. So that's fine. Simple. So anything under Hive is simple. Okay. So that's fine. You can just read up these guys. Simple, 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 simple. So another thing you should understand in page 259, the hierarchy of primitive data type, starting from number, double, float, big integer, small integer, and tiny integer. So just understand all those. So you just know them, keep them in mind. So that's fine. So keep in mind the complex data type. I guess I saw a question relating to complex data type. So keep in mind the complex data type, the arrays, the map, the structure, and the union. I think they gave us example of all those guys, and that's when you see the example of like that's page 260, example row with student info in JSON format shown as follows. So you see an example of a structure. Okay. So we've talked about relational operator, arithmetic, and the likes, blah blah blah. So there are still things we should know, which is normal for us to know. So we can see how we drop tables, how we alter tables, margin tables. I'm on page 267. Creating tables. There's a question I saw. So these are things you can just read up. They're simple and direct. Yeah, simple and direct. Please also don't let us forget our sheet. So that will help you to understand something at a glance. So when you just read through the cheat sheets, you'll be able to understand things at a glance. So advanced querying with Hive, all these things are still simple and to me they are not advanced, but understand how we use the basic left outer join, the right outer join, the full join, and the like. So I'm trying to see which part of this is difficult that I need to explain. So joins in Hive, I know we understand joins in Hive. When we talk about inner join, that is what is common to set A and B, left outer join. So what is in set A but not in B? So right outer join. What is in set B and not in A? Full outer join is a cross join. Give me everything that happens that is in both of them. So we know the other by clause and the union all. Use partition. I like this part, the part of use partition. So because this tells me what really happens at the background of the file system. There will be a question. I saw a question on this partition. So say, okay, how do you know? They will just write a script. So which one of them is valid to partition a table? And just pick one. So keep in mind, how do you create partition? Just keep in mind, understand the real script to use. Okay. So that's that. Limits, limit and tuning. I know when we had this class, we had something on limits. So the essence of this is for you to optimize your procedures or your function. Okay. So. So also, most applications to they're also keen about security. So, and that is page 305, advanced screening I for the engineering guys. You need to understand what are the security measures or security privileges that you can have on a particular table. So, the essence of security is so that one person will not, any maybe a team member will just come to a table and drop, alter, or just update the table. There's always a security measure in place on every table that's created. So we have privileges. So let's keep in mind there are still You see, the exam check will be asked to demonstrate our understanding of security in Hive. So that is fine. So moving forward, there's something we'll be doing. Um, there's something we'll be doing. As we know, in our next class, but I'm sure we're almost through it. Oh, so programming in Spark will be our last class on book one. Oh, we're almost through. I'm sure you guys should be ready for your exam in the next 1 month. So, because you guys are almost through. So programming in Spark will be our last class. So please and please, I'm not asking you to please save. I think if I'm asking you to, I'm begging you. Wow, you said you're like down, you won't do anything. So this is how the class will go. I'll be there to answer questions. Okay. Programming with Spark is second to the last class, and we'll do programming with Spark on Wednesday, and we are going to treat Spark SQL on Friday. So how we are going to do it is what's his name? Albert. Is he here? Is Albert here? He's not here. Okay.
No, I'm
Then-
here, sir. I'm here.
Okay. So this is what you're doing for us. You are part of the engineering stream, right?
No, sir. I'm the analyst, sir.
Analyst. So it
Yes,
is
sir.
Iola and who self? Richard.
It's just for the engineering guys are just ABB and Marvelous.
Ebube and Marvelous. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Marvelous.
Yes, sir.
On Wednesday, you'll be having a 30 minutes class to take us through programming in Spark. Those are the you don't read. You guys don't read. So you are going to take us through it as if you're an instructor. There's no big deal. So that we can all learn.
Okay, sir.
Ebube. So you have the first 30 minutes. So in case there's any other question, I will now come together, answer all those questions. So that is, so I'll be there to answer all pending questions on your behalf. But you'll be there to instruct us. Come very early, charge your system, make your get ready, you'll be our instructor. So Ebube, on Friday you'll be taking, can Ebube hear me? Ebube. Okay, please let me deliver the message to him.
Okay,
I'm
sir.
seeing online. On Friday, we'll be taking us the last topic in the math now. I'm coming though. It seems as if there's still one more. It will be taking us Spark SQL. So,
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
so that's fine. The essence of this is so that we can all push ourselves to read. And when you do it, you know it's better and it sinks, then you're fine. So it's going to reduce the stress when you guys are reading for exam. So thank you everyone for your time. Any question?
Yes, sir. There's a question, sir.
All right.
It's not part of what we did today, but is there anything German inside your question, inside the question for the answer?
No, now this is not Nigerian school now. Alaye, it is just it's purely objective and it's they will see it's easier than you think. Just read. That's just it. Just read and put your mind to it. That's a big deal.
All right,
And
sir.
just
Thank you.
understand. All right. So thank you very much. In case of no other question, I would like to call it a day. And you guys, I'm
That's
giving you
it.
I'm giving you
Thank you
the
so
rest
much.
15 minutes to go and read. So
Thank you very much, Mr. Edward.
you're welcome, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Edward.
Marvelous. Be ready for me on Wednesday.